Welcome to Plovdiv, Bulgaria.
The oldest continually habitated city in Europe. Let's check it out. In southern Bulgaria, on the banks of the Maritsa River, lies the second largest city in Bulgaria, Plovdiv. Situated among 7 different hills in the region historically known as Thrace, Plovdiv, formerly known as Philippopolis, named after Philip II of Macedon, father of Alexander the Great, boasts a population of about 347,000. Plovdiv was named European Capital of Culture in 2019. One of the most well-known icons of the city is the statue of Simeon, who is apparently just some guy who used to hang around in the street corner. So this is a model of the Hippodrome that was here before from Roman times. All that's left nowadays is this little part here. And that is currently this little part. It went 240 meters in that direction, but it's mostly all gone now except for this seating. So built right on top of the Hippodrome is this Pedestrian Street that I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name. And along this street, you can see the statue of Simeon, and then you can find all sorts of shops, bars, and restaurants. It's a really nice place to walk, especially in the spring and summertime. And like with a lot of places we've seen in Bulgaria, you can't go 2 feet without running into some kind of Roman ruins. And at the southern end of that main pedestrian walkway, you can find the park Tsar Simeon Garden, which is a massive public park, lots of beautiful green spaces and scenery. And at the end, you can find the singing fountains. Kapana is Bulgarian for the trap, and this district is called that because it's a labyrinth of intertwined streets where it's really easy to get lost. It was built on top of what was the old Ottoman bazaar, and it's basically a neighborhood of very bohemian, very artsy, trendy coffee shops, restaurants, and bars. It's great to walk around during the day, and it's great for nightlife as well. Oh, shit. Again, Kapana is a great scene for nightlife, especially on the weekends. Plovdiv Mosque is a leftover from the Ottoman times, and it's actually right by the Tourist Information Center. And it's pretty close to the entrance to the Old City, which is where we're going to head next. So the Old City is just that. It's the old part of the city built on historical Philippopolis, which is, by the way, where we get the Slavicized derivative Plovdiv Philippopolis, right? Philippopolis started with the P, like Plovdiv. Anyways, lots of cobblestone streets, beautiful Bulgarian revival architecture, and of course, Roman ruins. All right, so I'm in the Roman Amphitheater here in Plovdiv, Bulgaria. It's one of the most iconic landmarks of the city. You definitely got to come check it out. It's a pretty cool place. Really only need about 10 or 15 minutes. Basically, you're seeing it behind me. It's worth the 5 Bulgarian lev to get in. That's about $3 US. But you don't really need much time. I mean, it's an amphitheater. So, yeah, it's definitely a cool place. It was built in the 1st century AD, back when this was still, I think it was part of Rome, but it was governed by Thrace. And they used to have, plays and gladiator matches here. So, definitely a cool part of history.
Okay, what's your overall opinion of this place?
I think that Plovdiv is a beautiful city. It's obviously very, very historical, like 7,000 years old, I believe. Interesting history, beautiful architecture, beautiful landscape all around with all of the different mountains.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. How much time would you recommend spending here?
I would definitely recommend at least 3 or 4 days. I think that's about the maximum you'd need. I think longer than that, you'll probably get bored.
How are the people?
In general, they're very nice, friendly people who are very proud of their city, and they love to see new faces.
People is very friendly here. Is it safe and clean?
Yeah, it's definitely a safe little town. They keep it very clean.
How is traffic and public transportation?
You don't really need to take public transportation here, and the traffic's fine. You're not going to get in any traffic jams.
How expensive is it?
You know, if you stay away from the touristy areas, it's a little bit more economical. Near the tourist areas, it does get a bit pricey. You're looking at maybe $15 to $20 for a pretty good meal for 2, right? But for the Balkans, that's pretty expensive.
Do they accept credit cards?
Yeah, pretty much every place here accepts credit cards. I think it's pretty rare that a place doesn't accept credit cards, but it's good to keep some cash on you just in case.
What are some day trips you can take from here?
Let's see. We haven't really taken any because we haven't been here that long. We haven't really heard about any either. So, but then again, I mean, this place is basically a day trip in itself. I mean, if you, for example, if you're living in Sofia, or if you're there for long term, this would be a great weekend trip from Sofia. So this place is itself kind of like a day trip.
What are some negative things about this place?
It's a little bit pricey. It's definitely very touristy. You're kind of limited as far as like what kind of things you can do.
Can you drink water from the tap?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Feel free to drink the water, and when you go out, carry a little refillable bottle with you. There's these like little fountains where you can refill, and it's totally clean.
I'm very surprised about that because it's not in all Europe that you can drink water, good water in the street. Yeah, and the last question is, where is the best place to stay in the city?
Anywhere is good. I mean, you can stay in the old town, or you can stay in the Kapana district.
I prefer Kapana. I
Kapana's
think
good.
old street is very far.
Yeah, the old town. You're right. If you stay in the old town area of Plovdiv, you're gonna be a little isolated. And to be honest, as far as like restaurants, there are restaurants, but you're gonna find more daily like food, supermarkets, restaurants in like the Kapana area. So if you're here, you might not be able to. You'll have to walk a bit in order to find
Hello.
in order to find the like restaurants or a place to buy food and things like that. Here
Yeah.
it's like a little bit more rustic in the old area.
Yeah. Now I think the only bad thing in this city is this street.
Yeah. These cobblestone streets are a little tough for like wheelchairs, children with strollers. You need to have a really rugged stroller because we've seen some people struggle with it. Also, that reminds me, we just went on a free walking tour of Plovdiv that starts every day at 11 o'clock in front of the municipal building. I'll put a little map up here so you can see. All right, so you can see on the map the McDonald's and the statue of Milios. If you walk south on that pedestrian road, you'll come across a big fountain on your right-hand side. You can see the kind of turquoise colored there. It says Free Plovdiv Tour, and it's right in front of the Plovdiv municipality. And it's a really good walking tour. It only takes 2, maybe 3 hours. And also there's a good information desk. I'll put a map up here. So like I mentioned earlier in the video, it's right by the Plovdiv Mosque and the ancient stadium of Philippopolis where the Hippodrome was. You can't see it on the map here, but it's actually, it's where it says Audio Guide Bulgaria. It's where that little red spot is. Where you can get all sorts of free information when you first arrive to the city. There's tons of museums. There's, again, tons of history here, so definitely check out when you first get here the tourist center, the information center. We just had to add this because this happened in Plovdiv. You hear that alarm? And you notice everyone's just standing there stock still like statues. This happened while we were eating lunch in this restaurant. All of a sudden, this air raid siren starts going off and everybody stands up and just doesn't move. They just stand there like statues. Totally creepy. And at first, we stood up and stood still as well because, like, when in Rome, I guess. But then we noticed a couple other people were moving around, so we decided to move around a bit. And I filmed all this. And you can see everybody's frozen. And then the alarm goes off and everything goes back to normal. Apparently this was a tribute that they do once a year at noon for one of their national heroes. All right, I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.